Yesterday, the Department of Justice published the much-awaited terms of reference for the inquiry into allegations of state capture, corruption and fraud in the public sector as instructed by the President. This, of course, follows a public announcement by the appointed head of the process, Judge Raymond Zondo, earlier in the week, that the lack of direction for the inquiry was holding him back. The process is expected to start soon, but there are conditions that the expansion of the terms beyond the Gupta family and the President could drag this process out. Sithembile Mbete is both a lecturer at UNISA and a political analyst. She's here. She's with us in studio. Good to have you. Thank you for joining us. So these terms of reference, now they are, I mean, we were expecting this to be a big bone of contention, and they would change drastically to what was actually found in the state of capture report. However, they're very similar.
They're very, very similar to what was in the original Public Protector's report called State of Capture from 2016. So investigating the improper influence over the President and other members of the National Executive, including deputy ministers, looking at whether the President had any influence in offering a position, whether or not the Gupta family had any influence in offering a position to SABC Jonas, the position of Finance Minister, offers of the position of Minister of Public Enterprises to Ms. Feki Mentor. That is included in the terms of reference. Also included is the allegations that the Minister of Mineral Resources, Minister Zwane, whether he influenced at all a bank inquiry into the different banks because of their relationship or their treatment of the Gupta family. So all of those issues were in the original report, and they are in the terms of reference as well. Yeah. The terms of reference has not gone further back in time either to investigate state capture under the apartheid government or anything going further than that, which had been a bone of contention, something that the current public protector had wanted to include in the terms of reference. But the terms of reference now, with the 6-month deadline that they've got, are pretty much centered on the original state of capture report. There is, of course, as the Prof had alluded to, provision in these terms of reference for them to be expanded or to be added onto as and when becomes necessary through the...
There's also a very interesting one. The terms are listed, and then the last one asking, and to quote this, if the President had a hand in all of the above, close quote. Do you believe that this last point was kind of set up to allow a possible exoneration of President Jacob Zuma from this, or is this the point that we got to look out for?
Well, I think that this is the point that we've got to look out for. So much of the allegations around state capture that have come up since 2016, so with this report and then the Gupta leaks that we saw last year, a lot of it implies that the President was somehow involved, but there is no smoking gun. There's no email from the President's office. There are no fingerprints, basically, on any of the allegations around the Gupta family and the executive or people close to the President, like his son. And so really what this seems to be opening the door for is for real close investigation about whether any of these things have taken place with the President's knowledge, with his endorsement, or even worse than with his direction, whether these were direct orders from the President about what should be done. And as the Prof was saying, that let's remember that what comes out of the investigation of this commission is then will have teeth if it's taken up by the criminal justice system or if it's acted on politically. Yeah. So if it affects the appointments of particular ministers or anybody else that's been involved.
Now, we've also seen Parliament's Justice Committee expressing frustration with the delay of the terms of reference. Do you think that this now, obviously, is with the terms out now, do you think that this is going to help them?
Yes, certainly. It is going to help them, and it really moves things along, right? So having the terms of reference means that the Commission of Inquiry is now officially can get underway. Of course, there are a whole lot of logistical things, and I think that was what the judge was alluding to. There are a whole lot of things that need to be then taken care of around the logistics. Where is it going to sit?
When is it going to begin?
Okay,
so
these are the things that need to be decided from now. So they've been given, within the terms of reference, 180 days to conclude their work and to report
So they've got to start as
fast as possible.
Where are the Guptas? And this is a question that, in fact, I've just seen a lot of people asking. Are they in the country? Are they around? Legally, they need to be here. I mean,
Indeed.
Surely all of them are going to be called for this one. I mean, we know that the president's son, Duduzane, is going to be one of the first to come up in the commission. So, I mean, obviously they are now committed to be here. They have to appear, right?
They do have to appear. They have to be in the country. And so if they are not in the country, then that is when our legal system is going to have to step in and try to get them back from wherever they are. And so that's then going to be a whole other level of complication. Of course, this also depends on who is implicated and the extent of cooperation that there is between our prosecutorial authorities and the prosecutorial authorities in other parts of the world. Whether we know that Sir Lord Peter Hain, for example, has brought up a whole lot of issues of what he believes has been wrongdoing within the British jurisdiction of British banks and other entities. We know that there are efforts to get some investigation on issues in the US. And so whether there will be cooperation from international bodies to get the relevant people that need to answer questions back in the country is then going to be a very important thing.
There's obviously also so much more evidence that has come out since the State of Inquiry Commission. I mean, the Gupta leaks have come through, the emails that weren't necessarily seen before. Maybe they were, but I don't think so. The public protector didn't say so, that she has seen them. So there's a lot more to add to this investigation, which I imagine will make it stronger, including these international ones that you were talking about. My question over to you is, will we see the president sitting before this commission? The golden question. Can they call him?
They can call him. I mean,
should they call him? I mean, he is directly implicated.
Indeed, they should call him, if only to answer to some of the allegations that may be placed against him, and so to give him right of reply, as he has the right to. Whether or not he will be open to coming, of course, is another question. But there is nothing in our law that prevents the president coming to answer a case at a commission of inquiry. And there is precedent, of course, from former President Mandela when he appeared in front of a court, actually, in the Louis Late case involving rugby. And so, you know, there has been, so in practice, there's been nothing that prevents a sitting president from answering in front of some sort of judicial body, but there's nothing in our law that prevents it either. And so we will see whether or not the president will be called. And I think that many people will expect him to be called to answer, especially to that last point on the terms of reference that you were speaking to, about whether he's had any direct influence in this.
Just finally, before we wrap up, I'm just having a look at the time. We've got a minute or so. We've got the State of the Nation coming up. It's literally days away from us. A lot of people saying that President Jacob Zuma, if he delivers that State of the Nation, it doesn't look good for the party, it won't look good for the country, and most importantly, it won't look good for Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa, because he is now the leader of the ANC and he needs to take a step. What do you believe? I mean, if predictions are anything to go by, do you think we will see President Jacob Zuma delivering this? It looks like it's going to be that way, but is that the right decision?
Look, so we know that the President's office has released its schedule, saying that he is going to give that address. I think the big thing is about whether or not the President's supporters within the ANC will support or will allow themselves to stand down for the president to be able to step down and to resign as the president so that he won't give that State of the Nation address. Of course, the president could find some way to not be around and then delegate that responsibility to Cyril Ramaphosa as the deputy president of the country if the issue of the president's remaining as president of the republic has not been resolved by that stage. Some other way could be found, or some other excuse could be found for Deputy President Ramaphosa to take the podium on that day. But we'll see. It's going to be a very busy 2 weeks.
Listen, thank you for talking to us. It is certainly going to be. It has already been a busy month. I mean, we're about to wrap up January, and I'm feeling like, hang on a second, so much has happened in this month.
Like June.
I don't know where we're going, but anyway. So these next 2 weeks are going to pack even more into them. Sithembile Mbete, thank you. Thanks for talking to us, political analyst and also a lecturer at UNISA. The Time.